Hello, I'm Phil Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and in this episode, I really want to take an opportunity to reflect on why art matters in our society, why the things that I'm doing matter, and why the things that you're doing matter. Now, before I fully get into it, I would like to take the opportunity to invite you to subscribe if you haven't done so already. That way you get all the various lessons and episodes that I put out right when I put them out. Thank you if you just did, and appreciate you if you already were. It means a lot. So let's get into this. So the jumping off perspective I have comes from Jay Shetty, okay? And if you haven't heard of Jay Shetty, you know, he's a self-help teacher, actually was a monk, right? And one of the things that he talks about, the reason why he became a monk was because he was actually exposed to that at the age of 18. But before that, the only thing he was exposed to was like lawyers and so forth, and his dad was, you know, pushing him to go to law school and so forth. And, you know, at its core, stories, and when I say stories, I'm talking about kind of all, I use it as a blanket term for all things artistic, including poems, music, paintings, and so forth, right? Photography. Because at the end of the day, there's a story within, even like a painting, that within the frame of the painting is a story that we look at and it resonates with us. Photography, a poem, same thing, right? And so the idea is if we're not exposed to multiple things, then we are limited in the options we as individuals see. And so art allows us, you know, the collective art allows us to have more perspectives and to offer different perspectives to the world. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, it's no coincidence that there's been many studies done about how, you know, for example, like reading and so forth teaches empathy and compassion. I'm talking about fiction reading. Because, you know, it allows you to, as a reader, to connect what's on the page and to see a life that is not your own. It really does. And this is the beautiful thing about art, and it starts to present you with opportunities of you might not have otherwise thought. Again, like a Jay Shetty, who until his 18th birthday was never exposed to a monk, and then all of a sudden he gets a taste of like what an actual monk is and the lifestyle, and he's like, you know what, I really want to try this. And so, you know, in that sense, art is not selfish. You know, what we each have our own perspective in life. We each live a life that is uniquely our own. And, you know, whether that's staying in, let's say, the same place for all our life, or, you know, like Emily, like it's like almost the difference between Emily Dickinson, who always kind of stayed in her, almost like garret, if you will, and just wrote beautiful poems, versus like a Walt Whitman who traveled the world. Both have stood the test of time. Both have poems that have tremendous meaning for people. Two different approaches, equally as valid. And that's the beautiful thing about art. And it's not, you know, Walt Whitman or Emily Dickinson, one is not better than the other. We need both. And that's the beauty of art, and that's what I'm advocating, that in order for us to create diversity within our culture, within, you know, our collective minds and our empathetic hearts, you know, we need art, and we need more of it, and we need every perspective, you know, and the beautiful part is, you know, we as artists also evolve. You know, when I wrote my first book, when I made my first movie, that was a younger Phil with different views and thoughts than I am today. And so even if there are similarities between my works, I ultimately evolve and change. And same thing for you. And, you know, art is about bringing that humanity, that truthfulness that you see within the world, within yourself, to the proverbial page, right? And again, I'm using that metaphorically because it could be a song. But that's the beautiful part of art. And, you know, the more we work at that, the more it has the ability to resonate with people and really touch people and shift their perspective. That art really is powerful in that sense. And to not think that discredits everything that we do in our own lives. I mean, if you call yourself an artist, is it not because art managed to do something wonderful in your own life? I know it has for me. And so I aspire to do the same for others. So yeah, that's what art means to me and why it's powerful. But I'm curious, what does art mean to you? It's a very open-ended question. This is just kind of my definition of it. It's a definition. It's not the full scope of what the definition even for me could entail. But I wanted to discuss it and give you that perspective. But you might have a different one, or you might want to add your 2 cents to mine. Either way, that's fine. Let me know. Comment down below or hit me up on social media at Svitek, and let's have a dialogue. That's what I love. Because your perspective matters equally as mine. It really does. And that's what I appreciate. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to tune in. If you think this episode might be of benefit/inspiration to somebody else, by all means, please share it with them. I certainly would appreciate you, and I appreciate you. Hope to see you next time.